Hello everybody, Moarhammer here, and I've got another battle report for you. And in case you couldn't tell, this is very exciting. It's the first battle with my Disciples of Tzeentch. Or, I guess more accurately at the moment, Demons of Tzeentch. That's right, I'm switching over to another Chaos faction. Just can't get enough of that chaosy goodness. And I'll jump right into the army and the game right in a minute. But first, if you're interested in podcasts, I have recently started a brand new podcast. It is called Through the Realm Gate. I'm doing it with my friend John. We are discussing a whole bunch of different Age of Sigmar stuff, including covering a lot of sort of narrative gaming side of the hobby. So check it out if you like podcasts. We're live on iTunes, we're live on Podbean, we'll probably be live on other stuff at some point in the future, but check it out for now. So, to start this off, I'm using the Change Host of Tzeentch formation, or just the Change Host now, because I really like the concept of it. Switching, basically the idea is in the hero phase, you can swap any two units if they're within 27 inches of the Lord of Change. It allows for some really cool shenanigans. You can be fighting one thing and then just swap it over to another. Really like it, it's really cool. So now I've got Lord of Change. He's not my general, but he has got phantasmal weapons, and he's awesome because he's Lord of Change. My general is a herald on a burning chariot of Tzeentch. Now the reason it's this guy is because he makes burning chariots battle line, but we'll get to that. So this guy's got the Wellspring of Arcane Might, so he gets to reroll, him and any units within 9 get to reroll casting rolls of 1, which is very useful for some things, especially Lords of Change for example. And I quite like him, he's a really nice model. He's just going to fly around, and he's also got the Demon Spark, so once per game he can add 1 to the damage of all his weapons. And against monsters, his screams of damage D3, and his staff is damage D3, so there's quite a lot of damage in their potential, so he's quite cool. Then I've got the Blue Scribes. The kind of general point of him is, firstly, he can learn the spells of all my other casters, but secondly, his main spell is allowing him to re-roll any failed casting attempts, which is cool. Then I've got the Changeling, because he's annoying. And no one can argue with that, he's great. He's just going to sit in the opponent's table half, disrupt his army, annoy him, and then when he gets a chance, he's going to hopefully use some of his cool special rules to put a drop on the enemy. That'd be really fun. Not to mention the fact that he can be used to swap over in the Change Host formation, so if I want to put something instead of him, I can, and it'd be hilarious. I've got 2 units of 10 horrors, pink horrors I should say now, and these guys are kind of just the battle line. They're there, they're useful, they've got the banner so they can come back if they roll a 1, and they're going to be casting spells at people and capturing objectives, because these are my main, that's my main bodies. Then I've got a unit of 6 Screamers. These guys are fast, and they are quite good at killing monsters, so they're kind of there to be a bit of annoying. They're going to be quite useful to changing out in the Change Host for other stuff, then zipping halfway across the board, because they've got a 16-inch move, so they're very, very fast. And then I've got a Burning Chariot. This is my 3rd battle line unit. I really like them. They aren't terrible in combat because of the Screamers. They are pretty good at shooting, but they're essentially flamers, and they're very fast, and they can cause mortal wounds when they fly over people. And as long as my general is the Herald on Chariot, this guy is battle line, and that's amazing. And just to round it out, I've got 3 Flamers. And these guys are just going to be running around burning stuff. I'm not totally convinced by these guys' 200-point price tag, but I want to give them a go. They seem very popular with other people, so I'll give it a go. And then just to round everything off, I have a 240-point reinforcement pool, which will allow me to bring a whole bunch of stuff on. So I've potentially got a Bellwind Vortex or Heralds of Tzeentch on foot or on disc. I've got more horrors, I've got more screamers, and I've got more flamers. So I've got a demon prince. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff I can bring on. All right, so let's get right into the game. So here is a picture of deployment, and as you can see, I'm not even on the board yet. So we're playing the Demon of Tzeentch battle plan out of the Disciple of Tzeentch book, which basically is kind of an interesting one because I entirely start off the board. Now there are essentially 6 pieces of terrain on the board, kind of in the central of each objective. So if you think the biggest pieces of the 6 biggest pieces on the board, 2 in the middle, 2 on each side, they are kind of the objectives, and I have to turn them over to my side, and that is if I have more of my models within 3 inches of them than his models, I can flip that objective over to be mine. And I don't start on the board. I automatically get the first turn, which allows me to move on, but it does mean I skip my entire first hero phase, and obviously that's where quite a lot of my power is. So it's quite an interesting balance there. So I was interested to see what would happen. As far as his army goes, he just gets to deploy on 36 inches of the board, so he basically has the entire board. But starting on the far left, he's got a High Warden, just there on his eagle. At the back, he's got a Drake Seer on a big dragon. And just to his right, there's an Archmage. To the right, the Lawmaster. Then beneath those, down a bit, you've got 10 Swordmasters, and then to the right of them, another 10 Swordmasters, and they are standing right next to an Archmage. That's where he is. Then above them and to the right of them, you've got 2 units of 5 Illyrian Reavers. And then further to the right of them, you've got a Lord Castellant, and a unit of Protectors, and then a unit of 10 Liberators. If you also notice, by just underneath the right-hand unit of Illyrian Reavers, I have the Changeling. He's going to be sitting there, hopefully stopping him doing some stuff. So I thought it'd be good to put him kind of in the middle, but also near some of his Stormcast stuff, because slowing down the Stormcast stuff would be really useful. Like I said, I get the first turn, so I bring some of my stuff on. So here we go. Here's my first turn. I will note that now that I'm using the old Lord of Change model. This game, I didn't have the Lord of Change model you saw in the army breakdown. So I'm a bit behind myself here, in case you couldn't tell. But so that's why. So he's whatever. It's fine. So on the left hand side, I kind of moved my screamers as far forward as they could go. I was hoping to slam into the High Warden because he does have the monster keyword. I was hoping I could do the D3 damage to him and bring him down. Other than that, I bring on my Flamers on the left-hand side and stuff, so they could hopefully kill some of the Swordmasters. And I generally try and stay a little bit away from the Stormcast side of things. I would try and... my plan was I was going to try and take off what I could on the left-hand side, but I know that I'm going first. He has the opportunity for the double turn. I didn't want to run into a trap and just get double-turned and taken off. In the shooting phase, I do shoot at the Swordmasters, and I managed to kill 4 of them, which is not a bad start. And then my Horrors also managed to kill a Liberator, which was fantastic. In the charge phase, I managed to make it into the High Warden with my Screamers. And even though he does go first and kill one... I go first, I put 4 wounds onto him, and then he kills 1 back, which wasn't too bad. I can live with that. The best thing, though, was with the Billowing Warp Flame ability from the Flamers, the 2 units of Flames that shot, I actually managed to kill all of the remaining Swordmasters in that unit, and then after Battle Shock, they flee. So that was fantastic. I've taken an entire unit of Swordmasters down. So we go to his first turn, and he comes forward a little bit. He puts Hand of Glory on the Drake Seer, as you might expect, and he jumps over to the left-hand side to try and take on some of the Screamers. Everything else kind of moves forward. He does move his Castellant just within 3 inches of the Changeling, so if he got the double turn there, he'd also reveal him, which is a bit scary. But I slow down the Swordmasters with the Changeling to make sure they can't get too far forward, because that'd be a bit scary, because they could have gone quite far into the Lord of Change, which would not have been good. On the right-hand side, his Liberators sort of start charging towards the Horrors, but that's kind of all that happens, really. On the left, and some of his Illyrian Reavers charge off to the left as well. So, in the shooting phase, his Drake Seer does shoot at the Screamers and manages to kill a bunch of them, like 2 of them, and then he charges in and just wipes them out. There's very little that can be said other than that. It was very easy for him to do. I didn't get a chance to attack or anything, so yeah, that was brutal. So then we go into the initiative roll-off, and obviously I really need to win it here, because otherwise he's just going to roll over my entire army. And I don't win it. Which ain't good. So he comes forward with his Illyrian Reavers. I do slow his... He reveals the Changeling, so I can't do his shenanigans anymore. He moves his Liberators on the right-hand side forward, then his High Warden and Drake Seer down the left-hand side. He does actually completely destroy my Burning Chariot with his Drake Seer's spell, the Flames of the Phoenix, whatever it is, and so the Burning Chariot's gone. In the shooting phase then, he also manages to kill all of the Flamers. I think this was the Illyrian Reavers did that, just shot them straight off. There's nothing I could do. And so we go to the charge phase. His High Warden slams into the pink Horrors, and his Liberators over this side slam into these pink Horrors. Equally, his Castellant and the Swordmasters go into the Changeling that's now revealed, and they were going to make short work of him. So the first thing that happens is his High Warden manages to kill every single pink Horror that was there. So I can't even use cheeky Destiny Dice Battle Shock shenanigans to bring some back, so that was not good. My changeling does actually morph his weapon into the Lord Castellan's and puts 3 wounds onto him, which is pretty hilarious. And then he just gets his head kicked in. Both the Swordmasters and Castellan attack him, and just, yeah, there wasn't much I could do, really. So, that's... with the Liberators against the Pink Horrors, he actually totally fluffs. He manages to kill 1 or 2, and I use one of my ones on my Destiny dice to bring them back, so I don't actually end up losing any, which is fantastic. So, just to recap quickly, at the start of my turn 2, I'd lost my Flamers, my Burning Chariot, a unit of Horrors, my Changeling, and I think that's it. But that's roughly like 1,000 points, so I it's looking horribly. So, however, okay, so turns out that Lords of Change are pretty good. So we go into my turn, and this is at the end of the hero phase. This is the end of the moving phase, actually. So my Lord of Change casts both Infernal Gateway and Tzeentch's Firestorm, which is one of the spell cards he's generated, at the Drakeseer, and blasts him straight off. Nothing left. Fantastic. Then my Horrors cast Summon Herald of Tzeentch. So they summon him. He casts Summon Balewind Vortex. He summons the Balewind Vortex. He casts Pink Fire and Bolt of Tzeentch, respectively, because if he rolls over a 9 to cast, he can cast a second spell, and shoots off both the Archmage and the Lawmaster. Bang, bang, right between the eyes. So that's 3 characters down. I then push my Herald. I fire the Demon Spark with my Herald of Tzeentch. I cast Arcane Bolt at the High Warden as well. Fly over him with my Herald to make sure I'm within 3 inches to get that charge off. I charge my Lord of Change forward to try and take care of some of the Illyrian Reavers or Swordmasters, or the Illyrian Reavers, in fact. And we go into the charge phase. So my Herald charges into the High Warden, and my Lord of Change smashes into Illyrian Reavers. Fortunately, because my Herald of Tzeentch has got D3 damage on his Screamers, plus D3 damage on his Staff, plus has his Demon Spark fired up for +1 damage, he just completely mows over the High Warden, which is fantastic. His Reavers do actually take 2 wounds off the Lord of Change, but it doesn't last long, because he just then they get completely obliterated. The combat with the Pink Horrors and Liberators doesn't go anywhere. Nothing happens of note, which is great. So, at the end of my turn, I've managed to kill a Drakeseer, all his remaining characters, and yeah, so suddenly he's got no characters left. I've managed to capture 2 of the pieces of terrain as objectives at the end of my turn, so it's actually looking a bit up already. In his turn, he kind of moves his Illyrian Reavers around the side on the left-hand side, and his Swordmasters and Protectors towards my Lord of Change. He charges them. He shoots the Blue Scribes with the Illyrian Reavers, takes a wound off, no big deal, and then he charges his Swordmasters into the Lord of Change. I was a bit worried about this, but fingers crossed. When he attacks me, he does actually manage to do 9 wounds to the Lord of Change. Thank God I'm using the new rules, otherwise he'd be dead. So that wasn't too bad. I do attack with my Pink Horrors next. I do a wound, no big deal, doesn't matter. But I do kill Liberator. When he attacks back, he actually does a bit better this time. He kills 3 or 4 Pink Horrors. But, spoilers, it ain't going to matter. And when my Lord of Change attacks back, he does manage to boot in about 6 of the Swordmasters. That was fantastic. And when I come to using my my Battle Shock for my Horrors, I roll a 1 again, and I bring in 1 or 2 back, which is fantastic. And all of his remaining Swordmasters flee. Oh no, sorry, I'm lying to you. They don't flee from Battle Shock. They pass the Battle Shock test. We go to the initiative roll, and I managed to win that. So we jump over to my turn again. Sorry if this picture's a bit confusing. It looks like stuff skipped around, but it hasn't. Well, it has, but it hasn't. So with the Change Host, I swapped my Herald of Tzeentch for my Lord of Change, and then my Herald of Tzeentch rocketed his way with a 6 for a run over to that last piece of terrain in the top right-hand corner to capture that. And then my Lord of Change Infernal gatewayed off the remaining Swordmasters. On the left-hand side, my blue scribes ran up towards that objective on the top left-hand side to capture that, which means that I now hold 4 objectives. I only need to hold 1 more to win the game, which is fantastic. Ultimately, nothing else happened in my turn. We go into his turn. He moves his protectors towards the Herald of Tzeentch. They charge him and are fairly easily able to dispatch him because 2 Star Soul Maces. His Liberators actually then do manage to totally finish off the Pink Horrors, which is a bit sad because they've done really well so far, but it wasn't the end of the world because then we jump straight into my turn again and my Lord of Change just jumps onto that last objective in the middle after, again, gatewaying off the Illyrian Reavers with help from the Herald of Tzeentch on the Delwyn Vortex. So there you have it. What a weird game, and what a fun game. I'm really enjoying these. These are really, really fun first game for the Tzeentch because it was just, I don't know how it quite jumped from one to the next. I thought I was going to lose that horribly. Then my Lord of Change just picked it up and destroyed the world. As far as other stuff goes, I really like the summoning. I didn't use all my summoning points. I had 40 left, but I couldn't do anything with that. I did have some blue horrors in my bag, but I didn't think they'd be that relevant in this game, so I didn't use them. And it turns out I think I made the right choice with that. I also really like the blue scribes. I think he's really useful from a synergy standpoint. Not particularly from a learning spells perspective, but just his own spell that allows you to reroll any fails within 18 inches. It's just really strong, and I like it. So, yeah, I'm good with that. I think that's pretty much all that really got a chance to perform this game, to be honest, because everything just died. But I really like how the army looks, how it's kind of functioning. It's exciting. The Destiny dice were really, really cool and fun. So there you have it. It's the first game with my Demons of Tzeentch. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like the look of my models as well. I'm quite proud of how they look. I think I've done a good job painting them, if I do say so myself. I know what you're thinking. So, yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you liked it, leave me a comment, let me know, like the video, or subscribe to my channel, please. And again, just reminding you of my new podcast, Through the Realm Gate. Go and check it out. It's on iTunes, it's on Podbean. It's pretty good fun. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you again soon.